Wrestling's been on my mind since I'm like 4 years old. I went up to him before the show, and I was like, "Listen, like I do your move. Like, I'm not going to do it tonight." He goes, "No, brother, go ahead, do it. If you do it well, I'll give you my stamp of approval." And I thought he was booking me to bring in the Arnold character, but no, that didn't happen at all. Chikara, I learned so much, and being in the mask was totally different too. And I always had this baby with Darius in the back of my mind to do this Crusade for Change. Me, Darius Carter, Anthony Gangone, the Minutemen. I got an email. He needed a big guy in his student film. I played that villain. I played that villain way too well. Me and Danny can go out there anytime, anywhere, and have a great match. I got to act the way Danny acted when I came up, you know. And a lot of the things you read about him are true. The one word would be validation. I have things coming up that would have been possible if I would have got the opportunity I did.
Ladies and gentlemen, hosted by Coach C, Chris Sanders, this is Best for Business.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. Another episode of Best for Business. I can't believe when I talk about independent wrestling, this guy started it all for me. TJ Marconi, man, thank you for joining me.
Anytime, brother. Anytime. I was very happy to do this, and then when I heard the backstory, I was like, it blew my mind, man, and I can't believe it.
I remember that first ever. You're the reason I went to that XWA show because you were on the poster, and then from there it started. So thank you for everything, man.
Nah, man, I'm glad that I was able to get you out of your house to come watch me wrestle. So yes, thank you.
I appreciate you. Now, I know I've talked to you in the past, but briefly, how did you get into wrestling? Because I don't think I've ever asked you that one.
So I was a fan, obviously, growing up, you know, like most of us that do this. And I went to school with Sean Maluda. Nice. He was related to the Wild Samoans. And he, while we were in high school, would always go train. And I was always a little jealous, I'm not going to lie. And then after I went to college, I was like, all right, I got my degree. Let me go do my passion now. So around 21, 22, I went to go start training. And that's kind of how I got into wrestling.
Wow. So post-college, wrestling, was that even in your mind at first?
Wrestling's been on my mind since I'm like 4 years old.
Nice.
Maybe like six. Let me build it up a little bit. So wrestling was always the goal for me, but I realized that I needed a backup plan. So I had the backup plan done, and then I pursued wrestling.
Nice. Now, I was going through your social media, so I was looking at cage matches. You've done some pretty cool things in wrestling. Now, the first one that stuck to my mind, tell me about it. Did you get to wrestle Vader when he approves of you if you wanted to use the Vader bomb? How'd that one happen?
So how that works, I didn't wrestle Vader, but Vader was in attendance because at the time, I think he was like, it's maybe a year before he died, maybe. So he was like, you know, also appearing, you know, Vader. And I went up to him before the show, and I was like, "Listen, like I do your move. Like, I'm not going to do it tonight." He goes, "No, brother, go ahead, do it. If you do it well, I'll give you my stamp of approval." Nice. So it was the tag match with me and Tommy Dreamer against I think Vinny Cenzo and somebody, and then I did the Vader bomb, and that was it.
Nice. So one thing I'm curious about, I was doing my research. I didn't even know this. So for you, how did Chikara happen? How did the opportunity come for you at first?
So Chikara was funny. Mike Quackenbush had a tryout through Beyond Wrestling. Sorry, I'm moving around a lot.
No worries.
Make sure that I got good lighting and stuff. There was a tryout to be in Chikara. This was during the down period. I think he like went away or some shit. So I went there, and I wasn't even me. I did my Arnold Schwarzenegger character in front of him, and he fell in love with it, basically, and said like the fact that you are a detective looking for your brother's killer was fascinating to him, and he booked me in Chikara. And I thought he was booking me to bring in the Arnold character, but no, that didn't happen at all. I became this snow version of Kane, Nøkken, which was completely different from what I did at the tryout. But I guess he just needed a tall white guy.
So what was it like at first? I forgot the order, but what was it like being a part of the Flood at first?
Well, so that was my debut.
Yep.
Came in with the Flood when they had a bunch of heels and characters come in and attack, I think, Heidi Lovelace and someone else. So that was interesting.
Nice. Now, what about, I forgot the storyline. I remember it was Quackenbush. I want to say Hero at first. I forgot what it stood for with the other language, but Brothers of the Cross. What was that faction like for you? How did you get added to that one?
So that was, they had me as Nøkken, and Nøkken basically was the fill-in for Tursis.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yes, so that's kind of what happened there.
Nice. What was it like for you to be a part of the King of the Trios?
That was great, man.
Yeah.
Chikara, I learned so much, and being in the mask was totally different too. It was just a different way to work, a different way
Mhm.
to storytell without having your face, and the fact that I was in like this major, um, major stable right away, and a major tournament was awesome and a very big learning experience.
Yeah, and then what was it? I don't remember the match. I don't know if it was a 2 out of 3 falls match. You were part of what was it? The Challenge of the Immortals?
Yes,
How was that one? Was it 2 out of 3 falls?
so it was like a tournament, I
Yeah,
believe, if I remember. So Chikara, not that I leave Chikara in the back of my mind, but it's always
that was early in your career.
yes.
Yeah.
So sorry, I'm moving around a lot, trying to get no one to make noise. I apologize. All right, yeah. So Chikara, for me, the Challenge of the Immortals was like this year-long uh, tournament that he did,
Okay.
if I remember correctly.
Yeah, you and Jack,
And
I remember.
yeah, it was like me and Jaka representing the BDK, and it was to be the new tag team champions or whatever they called it.
Hmm.
So it was a year-long thing at Chikara, the Challenge of the Immortals. Yes.
Nice. So I was doing my research. My first ever XWA show, you were part of the Crusade for Change. So how does TJ Marconi get added to this? You're part of all these top factions.
So the Crusade for Change was me, Darius Carter's like little baby.
Okay.
As I'm doing the Chikara thing, and I don't want to say I hated Chikara, but I hated Chikara.
Hmm.
Because I wasn't me. I was
Yeah.
under a mask and I wasn't able to be TJ Marconi. I was a character. And I mean, it was very helpful in learning and early on in my career, but I wanted to grow. And I
Nice.
always had this baby with Darius in the back of my mind to do this Crusade for Change. When the opportunity arose to kind of start taking it to places
Hmm.
like Beyond Wrestling, etc., it just I left Chikara in and focused on that. So it was me, Darius Carter, Anthony Gangone, the Minutemen, and we just started rocking and rolling wherever we can.
Do you remember that first interaction you had with Darius Carter?
Well, first we started training together.
Okay.
So we were kind of attached at the hip as opponents when we were very green and like all little smaller independent companies. And
Mhm.
then because we had such good chemistry together as opponents, we wanted to do this idea and we came up with the Crusade for Change. I really enjoyed working with him because he complimented me so well. And I
Nice.
complimented him so well because of his in-ring ability and mine matched each other so well. We made for really good tag team partners.
Yeah.
And then even upon breaking up, again, we had chemistry as opponents. So it was like
Mhm.
a money each way.
Nice. So I've been following your career legit since I was 12 years old. I just turned 20. It's been crazy to me. But I'm curious, how did Public Enemy number one, the moniker, did somebody just give that to you?
No, that was a series of unfortunate events that
Okay.
I turned a lot of negatives into positives.
Nice.
I was just fresh off of doing extra work with WWE. And I wrestled Tommy Dreamer, and Tommy Dreamer after the match goes, "Hey, you're tall, you can cut promos, you're good in the ring. Why haven't you got looked at?" I said, "I don't know. I guess I don't have the right friends."
Yeah.
And 2 weeks later, I got he's like, "Hey, go to Wells Fargo for Raw." I'm like,
Mhm.
"Cool, all right. I guess that's how it works. You got to make friends." Um, After that, I kind of got told yes, but not yet
Mhm.
because of someone who was hired there. I'm not gonna go into old issues. It is what it is. We all moved on. But right after that, I turned heel in a company for the first time at SWF, but they had me turn heel on a bunch of backyarders. And I was so convincing of turning heel on these kids. I protected every single one of them. You can go
Yeah.
back and look them up. I protected everyone from Grimm's Toy Show,
Oh yeah.
protected all of them. But I was so convincing in my anger and my heel turn that workers were thinking that I was going to beat the crap out of these kids.
Yeah.
And, I had like guys like Ethan Page and all these guys going, it's like, burn my boots, or getting me unbooked from shows, saying they won't work shows I was at. So I was a little bit depressed. I'm like, do I like just like come out and say this was a work, or do I
Mhm.
run with it? And I ran with it. I said, all right, if I'm going to be this villain and I'm going to be vilified, I'm going to run with it. And I became public enemy number one, and I ran with it, and I'm still doing it today,
Nice.
and it's working. I've come a long way to like people realize that I'm not hurting anyone in the ring
Yeah.
now. So it took a little while. Like
Yeah.
people get to know me like, oh, it is a character. I'm like, yeah, man, wrestling is it's acting.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Now I'm curious, when was your first interaction? How'd you meet DGDX?
Oh, that was so. I got an email
Okay.
from Dane. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Sorry, the DGDX, that he needed a big guy in his student film. And I was like, yeah, man, I'm in. And it was called Bird in the Shadow. It was for the School of Visual Arts. It was his thesis. He said, Paul London's playing the hero of the movie. We need someone to beat the villain. And I said, absolutely. And that's how I became friends with Dane, just shooting his student film. And
Nice.
through him, I became really good friends with Paul London to this day. Me and Paul still talk. It's a great relationship. Dane is responsible for that.
What was it like being in that movie, or how was the experience for it?
It was cool, man. Like
Yeah.
I never did anything like that before, but it was, stunt work kind of and acting. I was like this big shadowy figure with a sword and my Chikara kind of the stuff I had from Nøkken, my armor I
Mhm.
wore in the movie, so I got to use it. And I
Nice.
had a different mask, obviously, than the Nøkken mask, but it was a really cool experience. And then from there, I started doing I did a role in The Joker and a role in The Irishman before
Nice.
the pandemic happened. Yeah.
Wow. So here's me being a mark. So when I first saw you,
No,
obviously you
not a
mentioned,
mark, man. Not a mark.
well, you mentioned it, GTS. Now, I was talking to some kid. Now, wrestling is starting to become like cool again, but like even in college, like WWE, people aren't a fan of it. But when I say three letters, like that lights up people, GTS. So
Yeah,
during the time you wrestled for, I think it was like the peak because everyone watched it. So for
yeah.
you, how did that experience come to be?
So I was at SWF, a smaller company in New
Yeah.
Jersey, and they were using Grimm's Toy Show as a ways to help promote the show. And Grimm came up to me and goes, "Listen, we need a villain." And then Dane DGDX was
Yeah.
in Grimm's Toy Show before. He validated them, saying, "Listen, no, it's got a good audience. You'll end up getting a lot of merchandise, new fans." So, all right, I'm in. I asked them what they wanted. They said they needed a villain. I played that villain. I played that villain way too well,
Yeah.
and it cost me a little bit. But in the long run, it kind of was beneficial because, again, maybe I wasn't meant to be at WWE at that time
Mhm.
and have the notoriety or whatever at that time. But now I can comfortably say that I am at a good level in my career, that I'm always reliable, and that I have things coming up that I didn't would have been possible if I would have got the opportunity I did in 2015, 2016. Now here we are about 10 years later. I'm a better wrestler, a better human being, a better person, and now I'm getting better opportunities.
Yeah, I was going back on my YouTube. That was the only time I've ever bought a pay-per-view because you were in the main event for it. So
Yeah,
you had an impact on me at least.
nice, nice. And then then look at the butterfly effect, or the trickle down effect. You came to see me at XWA, and now here you are today. Both feet into the business, dove head first, and you're coming along so well, man. It's crazy when you think about the snowball effect that happens.
Yeah, so when I was looking at your resume, you wrestled a who's who. So I'm curious. A few weeks ago, he wrapped up his career. Do you have anything that stands out wrestling Homicide?
Homicide was great, man, and I
Yeah,
still owe you one. I still owe you one, D. Homicide is he's like the Godfather of the Northeast, even though I kind of say that I'm the Don of the Northeast. He's the
yeah.
Godfather around here. He kind of had his hands on a lot of the wrestlers around here that on TV, guys who past, present, future. He
Mhm.
has a hand in it, and to have like his respect, like behind the scenes, and him vouching for me, and then in the ring, he goes, teacher's one of the best guys I've ever worked with. It's validating, and it's awesome to call him a friend as well
Yeah.
as you know a teacher or a brother.
How did the Dawn of the Northeast start?
I got bored. I
Okay.
got bored. I needed something new. I was doing the Thanos thing around the time of Endgame. It got a little popular. Then an ING article came out calling The Rock the Thanos of the WWE. So
Okay.
before it even became a thing, I was like, all right, that's scrapped. I got to
Mhm.
start new. And I mean, a lot of the Italian gimmicks you see past, present, they're
Yeah.
always like they're like childish versions of Italians. So let me be like an actual what I grew up seeing, like
Mhm.
how I saw the guys act around the neighborhoods in Brooklyn. And I said, all right, that's what I'm going to go with this down at the Northeast thing, because it still kind of fits in with Public Enemy. So it worked out.
Nice. What about wrestling Matt Striker? Because not a lot of people could say they've done that.
So are you talking about the match at House of Hardcore?
House of Hardcore, yeah.
I hated it. I hated
Really?
it. I hated it. I hated that match. So obviously, I mean, I'm not gonna I have no reason to lie.
Yeah.
Um, the WWE thing didn't work out, but Dreamer still liked me and wanted me around, so I was in House of Hardcore. But he really didn't like have anything concrete for me. He's just I was on the shows.
Hmm.
He wanted to basically it was kind of a little bit of a test. The match with Matt Stryker was kind of a thrown together thing. It was maybe 6 minutes. Matt really didn't want to work. And it's also hard. I know I'm talking in so much terminology here that some people might not know, but it's like, all right, the size differential here, we have 6 minutes. He's calling all these things. I'm trying to be respectful. It's like, dude, this really isn't the
Yeah.
match that we should be having. But again, I'm just trying to be the respectful younger guy at that time. But yeah, I hated the match. I mean, match great, but I hated the match.
Yeah. What about wrestling moves for the Impact Grand Title? Because that's another
That
thing not a lot of people could say they've done.
that was cool, man. That was during I think WrestleMania weekend.
Okay. Yeah, sounds
I
right.
think,
Probably. Yeah.
I think in Florida. It was a match in Orlando during that weekend, and
Mhm.
Moose was great, man. I had a great time with him. Great match. He's still rocking and rolling today. I think I should wrestle Moose one more time.
Oh
I know.
yeah, it'll happen. Now, when I talk about top companies, I was looking at your resume. You've pretty much done them all in the area. So how did House of Glory come for you?
House of Glory was a favor at first to Anthony Gangone. He was
Nice.
helping writing at the time. He's like, come in and help the younger guys call matches. And I thought that was my role there, just like, a fill in, kind of
Mhm.
fill in, help the younger guys out. But then I got over with that crowd and they kept having to bring me back. And I loved that audience. I had such a good time there. Um, the ending wasn't so good because like it was right. I got sick, so I didn't get to finish the one storyline, but I loved my time there. I have nothing, no bad words to say about House of Glory. Loved it.
When you first started going, were you teaming with Brian off the rip, or did that start like?
No,
Okay.
no. So that first I was Josh Glide's friend. That
Wow.
was the storyline. I was Josh Glide's friend. I was basically like his diesel.
Mhm.
Then we started teaming up. Josh got hurt, and then I started teaming up with Brian Burgundy.
Nice. And then what is it? House of Hardcore? Are you aligning with Pepper Parks and Alley, or where was
Yeah,
that?
this is like what I was just kind of saying. Like I was at House of Hardcore,
Okay.
and Tommy just had me on shows,
Nice.
just to have me there. And then finally he goes, "I need a bodyguard for Pepper and Cherry Bomb." I said, "All right, I'm in." And Cherry and Pepper are fucking great. I'm sorry for
Yeah.
cursing. I don't know if I'm
No,
allowed to
you're
curse
good.
or not. Like they were great. I was easiest day of the easy day at the office. Get to look good, dress in a suit, walk out with the two of them professionals. It was an awesome time. Got to interact with Mickey James, Tommy Dreamer, Sandman. Funny story about that. It was like every show Sandman comes out. Obviously, if you've been to House of Hardcore show or any show that Sandman's like comes out, hits everyone with the Kendo stick.
Yeah.
And after a while, he turns to Dreamer and he's like, "Yo, dude, like look at him. He would take the stick and shove it up my ass and make me into a shish kebab. I got to
Yeah.
stop hitting this giant with the stick. He's gonna eventually gonna hurt me."
Yeah.
So Dreamer is like, "No, you're the Sandman. You go out to hit him with a stick." He turns to me, and goes, "Listen, kid, when the music hits, because you know that I'm hitting you with a stick, just leave because I'm not hitting you with a stick anymore." Because it makes no
Wow.
damn sense. It was
Uh,
pretty funny. Yeah.
So this goes back to me being a mark. I don't remember when this was, but don't you do something with Kevin Nash? I remember you both were on a
Yes.
poster with him.
Yes. So, growing up, Kevin Nash was my favorite wrestler.
Yeah.
The Ultimate Warrior was my first favorite wrestler, but then it was Kevin Nash.
Nice.
Shows you how much of a worker I am. Yeah. So we got booked in and there was like clever but tricking marketing there. Unfortunately, they knew that marketing me versus Nash was like a thing. So
Yeah.
that's why the poster was like that, but it was always a tag match,
Hmm.
which ended up being Kevin Nash working as a manager because Kevin doesn't work matches.
Yeah.
But they tricked the audience. Clever indie booking, right?
Yeah.
It was great, man. It was me and Stockade versus X Pac and Mike Verna with Kevin Nash ringside. But then I got to do the spot with Kevin Nash at the end of the match.
What was that like? Because like you just said, he's one of your favorites.
It was surreal.
Nice.
I always like back and forth about like, oh, the things I've done in wrestling. Like, oh, am I doing enough, or what else I need to do? And I look back and like you're saying, like these things I've done, it like puts things in particular perspective.
Yeah.
I got to do a spot with my all time favorite wrestler. Like I'm beating up X Pac. I'm about to hit him with a chair, and then Kevin Nash grabs the chair from me, and I look at him, and I'm like, "I'll fight you too, old man." And he cracks me with the chair. Like, come on, that's
Yeah.
you tell me that's a 6-year-old me. I'm going nuts in my house, you know.
You tell 12-year-old me he's going to be interviewing TJ Marconi. He wouldn't believe it.
I know. It's still crazy to me, man. How
Yeah.
I was the guy to get you into this crazy business. It's still crazy to me, dude.
So how did Warriors of Wrestling start for you?
Well, it was local at
No,
first because I was
yeah.
from Staten Island, and it was at a local school, and I would just go there to work out. And then eventually, it just kind of we got a spot for you. And then I would fill in. And then eventually it was more than a fill in. Like they figured me into storylines because the audience started to get with me. I had like my breaks with them, but this last run has been great with them the last few years. Like I came in as a heel. I had them all hating me. They eventually like wouldn't boo me anymore. They'd start cheering me. And now I'm like one of the top baby faces there. It's kind of surreal. They turned me babyface, like the crowd.
So when I was looking at your resume, when it comes to tournaments, you did the King of the Trios, 2023 winning the King of New York, was it for them?
Yes.
How was that one?
King of New York was good, man. It's like that was so behind the curtain again.
Yeah.
I was at training, and like I was saying, like the month of September is always a hard draw for wrestling.
Oh yeah.
You need something. Like I said, like Chikara has King of Trios. ZZW has Best of the Best. I said, you guys need a tournament. So he's like, all right, come up with something. So I came up with the King of New York. And the original concept was 4 fatal 4-ways, and then the winners would go into a fatal 4-way. And then the winner of that was the King of New York.
Yeah.
It's been through different iterations over the years at Warriors, but that was the idea of the tournament, where it's like 4 fatal 4-ways, and the last fatal 4-way as the winner. So I have that win under my belt. I have the Escape from New York for Project Codename Wrestling under my belt, a King of Trios entry. I'm trying to think of I've done any other tournaments.
There's more. No. You did like 10 or 12 when I was looking it up.
Yeah. See, you know more than me, man. That's crazy.
Yeah. So when you were talking about Match Striker, you talked about your mind for pro wrestling. You knew right off the rip, the big guy and the little guy, the story, what the match he was trying to do wasn't there. So when I think TJ Marconi and big guys, tell me a story or something that lines up wrestling Danny Maff. Yeah.
So coming up, like, Maff was the guy.
Yeah.
2010, 2011, Maff was the guy. And I was still a greenhorn when I worked him. And I still had a good match with him. Nice. And now here we are, 15 years later. And like I called Danny like one of my best friends. Me and Danny can go out there anytime, anywhere, and have a great match. And he knows I'm going to protect him. He's going to protect me, and we're going to beat the hell out of each other at the same time. It's kind of surreal that like Danny was the OG up here when I started, and now Danny's still here, and now I'm kind of in the Danny role. Nice. It's still kind of like weird to me to have to be like, all right, I got to act the way Danny acted when I came up,
Yeah. So how is it wrestling? I had him on the pod a few months ago, wrestling friend of the show, Donovan Dijak.
Dijak's great, man. Yeah. I mean, I didn't realize that was our first time ever singles match at Warriors this past December.
Yeah.
But we wrestled once before in a tag match when it was me and Carter versus him and Mikey Webb.
Wow.
And it was great. But then Dijak brought this up, and not that my memory is shot, but I guess my memory is shot. He goes, dude, there was this angle at Beyond that we never paid off, and the Crusade for Change is beating the hell out of some baby faces, and Dijak comes out at Beyond as like the top baby, and everyone dips out of the ring but me. And because, we're the same height. So, like, I'm not going to leave. I'm not afraid of you. He said the reaction we got from the crowd in Rhode Island was deafening. And he's so mad that Drew never paid it off because, like, we could have, like, they were ready. They were like, oh, my God, like, we got to see these two guys go at it. We didn't do a thing, and we had them in the palm of our hands. And the fact that we never paid them off because that pissed me off so much.
Nice. Now, when I talk about resumes, you got to wrestle in Italy, right?
Yes, most recently, twice now I wrestled in Italy, but most recently I had a seminar out there. I kind of am now like a guest online coach for all the guys out there. They hit me up. I give them any advice, any connections they need. And wrestling out there in the motherland was insane to me, incredible. I can say that I wrestled where my family came from.
Yeah. So my buddy, he went to one of the shows. He went on vacation, so he went to a wrestling show. And the second he sent me it, I asked him if you were on the show. And he said, yes. So I'm curious, wrestling in the States to Italy, what's something you think about wrestling there, their crowd, that makes it stand out, you think?
It's more, they're more like, how do I'm sorry, I'm trying to think of the correct word. They just want wrestling.
Yeah.
They're not jaded yet. Mm. Like in America, they see wrestling so much. They've seen so much. It's just starting to get popular again in Italy. And like, there's maybe 2 reputable shows in the whole country.
Wow.
So like they get like one good show, an indie show every month instead of like, okay, in the Northeast, you can go to 7 shows in one weekend. Yeah. So they're more appreciative of having live wrestling close up. So they're more invested and more appreciative in it. And also the chants are very funny there. Like, in America, you're not going to get only two as a chant, but there is solo due. and it works because like only two in Italian sounds cool when you chant it. You know what I mean? Solo due.
Are you a baby or a heel up there?
I was a baby. I thought I was gonna like I was at first, but I was like, I don't know if it's gonna work. I'm the big American. Are they gonna cheer for me? And then my music hit, which was like the Tarantella, which they know, and they were into it right away.
Yeah, so you talk about it when you went to Italy, you're doing seminars. So what is that like for you? So from I'm pro wrestler, what am I learning from a TJ Marconi seminar? And for you, what is it like after all these years putting that work to be able to give seminars?
I kind of like most of the time my seminar like idea is I know most of the guys there are going to know the basics because a lot of seminars you go to, a lot of these guys like, oh, let me see you roll. Let me see you bump. Let me see this.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like I'm under the assumption if you're at a wrestling seminar for me, because who am I? You know kind of that. So I don't even go to that. I go into like the marketing of yourself, the promos, the branding of yourself. And then like I kind of get like everyone warmed up and then I ask them like, what do you want to help? What do you want help with? Mm-hmm. Like what's the thing that gets you from like level A to level B? Like what do you think do you need help with? I kind of get that from all of them. And then like I kind of base my seminar on that. Nice. Like I'll get everyone warmed up just to see where they're at, but I'm not gonna be like, all right, let me see you do this. Let me see you do a back bump, a front bump. I'm assuming you know how to if you're at my seminar. Nice. I want to go, okay, what do you want help with? All right, I want help with my transitions. I want help with my fall season. I want help with my marketing. I want help with my chain wrestling. I want help with my character. Then I can individualize the seminar that way.
Nice. So unfortunately, I think it was like a month ago, Vince Steele passed away. Now, I never met him, but I see the impact he had. For somebody who got to wrestle him and know him, what was it like wrestling him in the ring?
I mean, another big guy, man. Yeah. It was great.
There's not a lot of them.
No, he was 6'3", and I know he was billed around 400 pounds, but when I wrestled him at first, he was maybe 350, and he got real big. Mm-hmm. I wrestled him when I first came up. And he gave me like I beat him for my first heavyweight championship, and I kind of was attached at the hip with him because put the two big guys together and let them fight. But as a young guy, having a veteran like him, like helping me out and like giving to me when he didn't need to, it was always impactful to me to give back to the next generation.
Nice.
And a lot of the things you read about him are true. He was a loving guy. He was a caring guy. He was not mean. Like at times, people can say like, "Oh, TJ's mean," and I probably maybe been mean every few times. I'd never seen Vince angry ever. Wow. It's crazy.
Yeah. So what was it like recently getting to wrestle for NWA and challenge for the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship? Now, like a lot of people can't say that, and you've put in the work all these years to get an opportunity like that. That's pretty big.
Yeah, it's validation. Like the one word would be validation. When it came together, I was kind of like, it was surreal. Mm-hmm. And I'm wrestling for the oldest world championship in pro wrestling. And I was like, I got to deliver. I got to deliver that weekend. I got to let NWA know what I'm about and what I bring to the table. And I think I did. Latimer was super impressed. The crowd was super impressed. I was this close into winning that title.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Like it was just if sum it up easily was validation for me.
Nice. Well, TJ, I want to thank you for doing this. However, I've ended every interview the same now. The day you decide it's all done in pro wrestling, which I don't hope is anytime soon. But what do you want TJ Marconi's legacy in wrestling to be?
Such a loaded question.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, the fact that I was able to do things at my size that you wouldn't think I'd be able to do. The fact that I was able to entertain you as a good guy or a bad guy. And the fact that I have something to pass on to the younger generation and the younger wrestlers that, okay, I learned that from TJ, or I'm stealing this from TJ. And I hopefully have an NWA title to my resume before I go.
Nice. Well, TJ, I want to thank you for doing this. Episode 60 couldn't get any bigger than this, man. You started all. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for everything, man.
Thank you, Chris, man. I'm happy that I'm the reason why you're here, and I hope this. Yeah. I can't wait to see your future, dude. Legit.
Thank you, man. Thank you for doing this, and thank everybody for watching this episode. This was Best for Business.
Thank you for watching this episode of Best for Business. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, because this is Best for Business.